This week we started a new month on the Hebrew calendar. It is Adar Rishon, and I feel like I should start singing to you this wonderful, inane, silly song. Misha, 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 Nichnas Adar. Because when it is Adar, there is a song that we sing that says, Misha Nichnas Adar Marbim B'Simcha. When we welcome Adar, when we bring in Adar, then we multiply happiness. And um, not any surprise that Adar is the month when we celebrate Purim and that joy from Purim and some of the silliness from Purim, which is fascinating because it's really a very serious story, infuses the entirety of the month. Now, what's interesting is that this year we won't actually celebrate Purim in first Adar. We will celebrate Purim in second Adar. And you're like, what's this first Adar, second Adar thing? Well, it is a leap year on the Jewish calendar. And as opposed to on the Gregorian calendar, when a leap year has an extra day, a Jewish calendar, when it has a leap year, has an extra month. And that extra month is the month of Adar. So there's an Adar Rishon, there's an Adar Sheni. So I wanted to share with you just a couple of things. So one is an understanding about the month of Adar from Sefer Yetzirah, which is one of the earliest Kabbalist, it is the earliest Kabbalistic text. It is the beginning of written Jewish mysticism. And it says that according to, in Sefer Yetzirah, the notion connected with Adar is laughter and merriment, and it goes on to comment that there are two kinds of laughter. There is nervous laughter that expresses the feeling that life is meaningless or alienating, and this reinforces depression and limited perception. But then there is something called holy laughter, and it expresses the recognition that everything somehow makes sense. Both tragedy and comedy can pull the rug out from under our mind, and when we respond to life with holy laughter, we can joyfully release ourselves from limitation. And I want to stop for a moment and think about what that is, what holy laughter is. And I think it has to do with purity when it comes to concepts of joy, to really allowing ourselves release through joy, that so often that we think that release gets associated with, I don't know, with anger, right? We finally like, or maybe oblivion, we let it go to forgetfulness, or even through rest. But there's something to said about release through joy and through laughter, and Adar can be associated with that sense of joy. I also want to share with you a poem by a woman who Rabbi Rachel Barenblatt, and I've shared with you her poetry before. She is also known as the Velveteen Rabbi, but I really enjoyed this poem from her. It's called A Poem for Rosh Chodesh Adar Rishon, the first Adar. The first Adar takes its name from the letter who tells no tales. It contains Little Purim, which is just like Big Purim, except we don't read the Megillah or send gift baskets. We just cultivate joy. The first Adar's mitzvot are invisible. The first Adar conceals its holiness like a veiled Torah scroll. It's like the cosmos compressed into the silent first letter of the first word of the first commandment, like the queen whose name means hidden, who keeps her Judaism close to the vest, like the Holy One never mentioned in our body passion play, but gleaming all over the story for we who have the eyes to see. I want to just delve a little bit deeper into a couple pieces of this poem to talk about a couple of elements that Rabbi Barenblatt talks about. So the first Adar takes its name from the letter who tells no tales, and that of course is the letter Aleph, and it tells no tales because Aleph is a silent letter. It only makes the sound of the vowel that accompanies it. It contains this, and she goes on to say, contains little Purim. So Purim Katan is sort of like a marker during the first Adar that lets us know that the big Purim, that the real Purim, as it were, is coming in Adar Sheni. And we don't read the Megillah, we don't send Mishloach Manot or gift baskets, but we do continue to cultivate joy. The first Adar's mitzvot are invisible. it conceals its holiness like a veiled Torah scroll. There's more depth there, to be honest with you, than I am getting, but it goes on to say, like the cosmos compressed into the silent first letter of the first word of the first commandment. So, of course, we're coming back to first and the first Adar. But the first word of the first commandment is also an aleph, Anochi Adonai Elohecha, right? I am the Lord your God. And we know that the name of God is also silent, right? The Yud He Vav He is this name, this impronounceable name, and all of that power that comes with it. Like the queen whose name means hidden, which is Esther, by the way, who keeps her Judaism close to the vest. And then she goes on to say, like the Holy One never mentioned in our body passion play. I don't know if you're aware of this, but the name of God is never mentioned in the Megillah, and it is understood that Esther is behaving on, through God's hand, through God's behest, but God is never actually mentioned. Um, and yet we feel that presence. And so I love this idea of mystery and silence and holiness and joy and laughter all being wound up in this month. And it gives us an opportunity to think about the places where holiness and joy and laughter and silence all converge. And so it gives us this wonderful way to welcome a new month, a silent month, Adar Rishon or Adar Aleph. May it be a healthy and happy month for all of you and yours.